So, if that's the case, that was a seminal point in the history of our planet because it started to further define the breakup of continents. Okay, what does all this have to do? Well, as this huge piece of space debris is still careening inward towards speculations, but it does come back from the region of Orion. It comes up and under the back side of the sun. That's why we really never get to see it that good. At least this time we didn't. We see it now, but with great difficulty and expensive photography.
Well, here's what. Let me tell you what a few people kind of argue about that with me, and they say that, well, when people tell you it's in the backside of the sun or behind the sun, it's told to me, well, we go around the sun. So at what point, at some point, we should be on the same side, and that's what I get told by some out there. What do you say to something like that?
Well, it's coming up. It's been coming up. And I believe now it's about ready to arc out again. And this arcing out will be on or about September 18th, 2016. On or about that date, give or take 24 hours. And that date could signal a major global earthquake.
Interesting.
And it'll be the same arrival and landing of a series of UFO ET cultures in Mexico City and or Veracruz or both. I'll go out on a limb on that one tonight. Okay.
Okay.
But can't guarantee it'll happen, but this is the information that I've been working on and gathering, and I believe is the right conjuncture of dates. Okay. Now, hits the baby sun, knocks it into an 1,800-year-long journey from the region of our solar system back to the giant blue-black controller star, which then sucks it into its orbital influence and throws it back out, slings it out, just like Apollo 13. Remember when they got in trouble?
Yeah.
They had to complete the mission to the moon to get slung out back toward the Earth again because they didn't have enough fuel. So, cast out, and the big blue-black sun sends it flying back toward our solar system. There goes my throat. I'm going to hold everybody in suspense as I drink a little water here.
Well, that's quite all right. Believe me, I know how it is.
I probably drink half a gallon a day from assorted containers.
That's good.
All right. So, we believe that this semi-important, yet interdimensionally very important fact that this object, we believe, does have a supernatural significance to it, and thus plays in the religion and the Bible and everything. It seems to be about every 3,600 years or so. You'll have to excuse me. I'm having such a bad time with my throat tonight.
Well,
I'm fighting off a cold.
That's quite all right. I'll give you a chance. Go ahead and have some water because I want to address something. I've got every now and then there's somebody who's listening who may have a problem hearing things, and I'm just letting everybody know that it's coming in great on my end. All my meters and dummy needles here are telling me everything's fine, and nobody else has complained. So, folks, remember, if you're listening by Wi-Fi or something like that, wireless connections, it could very well be on your end, but I assure you the broadcast is coming off just wonderful off our end. Matter of fact, I'm very happy with it because I wasn't sure how it was going to go tonight because I had to throw things together over the weekend here. So, but came out good. And we do have a caller, too. But go ahead, Dr. Rand, and finish your...
Yeah, let me finish the dissertation on the baby sun, Wormwood.
Okay.
So, this object is cast back toward the Earth, and about every 3,600 years, really interesting events happen on the planet, and that we believe that the last time that this event happened, going back approximately 3,600, actually it's 3,543 years or so from this date, it's the year 1447 BCE, before Christ's time, or before the Christian era, BCE, Moses was leading the Israelites out of Egypt after 400 years of bondage. In fact, that movie's coming out, by the way, and it looks like it's going to be pretty good. It's in 3D. Okay? That would account for most or all of the phenomenon that occurred when Moses used his rod. And this is all talked about in the book of Revelation. Isn't that interesting? Like corroboration. Follow me?
Mm-hmm.
I found that this is happening more and more when I research these stories.
But now there's, just so for the record, now there's actual scripture or text or however you want to, whatever you want to call it, that goes back even further than that talks about this event.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, where does this leave us at this point? Well, we happen to be living in a very, very interesting time period. We may be actually living in what could be considered the end time. You know, give or take 50 years, or maybe not. I look at things a little more sober these days. Things are a lot worse than they appear to be. The terrorist thing is getting a little scary, okay? You have to be careful what you say and who you say it to. We may be witnessing this planet going through even more trials and tribulations than it already is. Which brings me back to my opening statement, and then I'm going to plunge into reading this text. Okay. We talked about tonight was November 2nd.
December.
And we talked about overpopulation and global warming. Then let's talk about, now all of these things are all happening simultaneously, right now, somewhere on this planet. We still have a badly depleted ozone layer. We have vast rainforest devastation with uncontrollable wildfires, hurricanes, typhoons, global storms, F1 to F5 tornadoes. We have global flooding, we have tsunamis and droughts. We have Arctic and Antarctic meltdowns with mass extinctions of multiple plant and wildlife species. We have widespread famine, deadly disease outbreaks of animal and human origin. Hello? What did we just get done experiencing? We have ever-increasing worldwide earthquake and volcanic activity, both of which are up 350 to 400%. Now, all of the above are collectively taking a heavy toll on us humans, our plants, and our animal life. Not to mention the billions upon billions of dollars in lost global property damage, lost wages, damaged economies, and major consumer disruptions to the everyday needs of its global citizens. The closing statement here reads, again, Mother Nature takes no prisoners, Mike, offers no quarter, and remains totally uncontrollable. And that is where we are tonight when we open the show.
Fantastic.
Now, if anybody wants to challenge any of that, go show me the stats that deny it. How's that for a challenge?
Sounds good. We've got Ira on the line. Ira, we welcome you, and thank you for holding on.
Not a problem at all. Glad to hear you're back online.
Oh, me too. Me too. It was quite an ordeal, but thank God it's done now, and much better.
If anything, it's a lot louder than it used to be to me.
Well, good. Yeah. Well, I'm set up a lot better now. Believe me, the place I was in, it's set for condemnation, honestly. So, anyways.
Definitely been there. Well, I wanted to say you've been having a really interesting conversation here tonight. I've definitely been into listening to you, Dr. Rand, and all the information that you've got here. I wanted to, I guess, go back to the Planet X issue, the Nibiru issue, that kind of thing, and speak about something that I just ran across a couple of days ago in Science magazine. They just published a story, I guess November 29th, so just a few days ago, talking about, well, the title of it is "A Distant Planet May Lurk Far Beyond Neptune." And in the article, you'll have to pardon me, I'm blind, so I'm trying to read this from a screen, so I might sound a little fuzzy here for a second, but they found a dwarf planet, another dwarf planet, Dave, that's a 450-kilometer wide dwarf planet just outside the Kuiper Belt, the icy debris field past Neptune. Their find is designated 2012 VP113, and it says, let me see here. It has thousands of neighbors, but shares its odd trajectory only with Sedna, another dwarf planet discovered in 2003. They're kind of in a no man's land. These objects couldn't get out there with what we currently know. Something had to drag the two dwarf planets from their original smaller orbits, except nothing is close or massive enough to take the credit, at least nothing that astronomers are aware of. So I didn't know if you had seen that article or seen that information, but I thought that it'd be interesting as a kind of a confirmation for the information that you give.
This could, sir, that is brilliant. Thank you so much. In fact, is there any way you could send me that link?
Yeah, most certainly. I'll put the link to it here on Skype, and you can get it from there or whatever.
Okay.
Or if you give out your email address, I can send it to your email.
Yes, thank you. These could be some of the missing planets out of the 12.
Yes.
That got kicked out into space, like did the little baby sun, which is the object that is affecting our sun right now, because they've been approaching each other now for about the last 14 years. And that's when all our weather patterns we got. Have you had a chance to read the book, sir?
I have not.
Well, listen, please provide me your address. I'd like to send you a copy.
Okay, most certainly will do. It's feedback@openeyesnetwork.com.
Okay. All right, we'll get you a book.
Thank you.
Now,
I appreciate it.
This thing gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and yet the story gets smaller and smaller and smaller, because every time you look at it, the facts just don't change. Okay. Now, why the cover-up? It's no big surprise. They cover up everything. They literally cover up everything. UFOs, NETs, strange things that come in from space, strange vehicles that have landed here, and pictures and stuff. They lie a lot. So Michael and I don't have to get into that. Okay.
I've said many times on my own show that the human being has been lied to since our onset. I mean, since the beginning of the human race, we've been lied to. So,
right, since one caveman threatened the other. Okay, I want to read just a little bit here of the general thinking of an article. And Michael, I'm going to send you the thread on this for you to post for everybody.
All right, great.
It's called Planet X, The Ultimate Tribulation. It's a series of videos that this guy has put together. His name is Bart Zabrell. Very interesting stuff. On the front cover, it shows Seattle about to be consumed by a giant tidal wave with Planet X lurking in the background. Total misrepresentation. Total misrepresentation to what is really meant by the words. Here are the words from Matthew 24, 21 and verse 21 and 22. This is from the Gospel of Matthew 24, 21, 22. Quote, "In the last days there will be a great tribulation, unequaled in all of world history. Unless those days are shortened, no one will survive." End quote. Okay. Now, notice it said a great tribulation. Now, some people would say, well, yeah, that's also plural. I think in this case, they're referring to the potential for this period of earthquakes that could be coming our way. And that was another thread that brought me to develop the theory of what I think Planet X is going to bring to us. Now, I'm just gonna read a little bit here. I'll know when to stop it. This is coming from this gentleman, Bart Zabrell. These are his words. I'm reading them. "Many people know or suspect that some sort of tribulation is headed our way. Economic, social, political, international, or geological are some of the guesses. What I propose is one that encompasses all of them at the same time. This unprecedented combination makes the coming cataclysm, there's the singular word, cataclysm, unequaled in all of world history." Once again, I'm going to break from the text. They're calling a coming cataclysm. I think it's a one nasty singular event. Okay, back to the text. This is where it gets really interesting, everybody. The outer planets of our solar system, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, were each successively found by observing the perturbations or gravitational deviations of the next closest planet to the Sun from them. That is to say, the existence of a yet unknown planet more remote than the deepest one from the Sun, presently known at any given point in history, was discovered by studying the unusual gravitational motions of the furthest known planet, which indicated that at least one more planet was beyond it because of its gravitational effects, which could be seen in the behavior of the next closest planet, even though the one further away could not yet be seen. They were looking into the future. Saturn had deviations in its orbit indicating Uranus existed beyond it, even though it could not be seen for more than 150 years later. When Uranus was finally observed, its orbital path indicated that Neptune existed beyond it, so it too was not actually seen for many decades later. When Pluto was discovered in 1930, it too gave evidence that another, much larger body was beyond it. About this time, the term Planet X came to light, and best described as yet to be seen mysterious object at the edge of our solar system. Stop. This is beautifully constructed. I would encourage everyone, whether you agree with it or not, whether you think it's right on or not, at least it deserves a read. It's, I don't know, maybe 12, 13 pages. I'm not going to read the whole thing.
No, that is interesting stuff right there. And let's get into it deeper. We've got to take one more break. Things are a little different now, but we're back, folks, and we'll take your calls. And we have Ira still on the line with us, too. But, Dr. Rand, very interesting what you said about, Neptune and Pluto and, and so on. And they found what they're calling maybe a small cluster of planets that they found what they used to think was outside our solar system, but now they're admitting they may not know where our solar system actually ends.
Well, I think Sitchin's work kind of covered this too. See, there were originally 12 planets. Now, we know several were destroyed, Marduk being the primary one that created the asteroid belt. So let's plunge back into the story there real quick, because we didn't finish what happened in the solar system. So the damage is done. The little baby sun is cast out, and it leaves here. It takes approximately 1,800 years traveling at a very, very, probably 60, 70,000 miles an hour outward toward the sun, or the blue-black sun. And then it takes another 1,800, so that's why there's a 3,600-year orbital cycle. And if we're correct, this little baby sun, poor thing, not its fault, it's just about to finish its visit to us. Now here's the good news, guys, everybody. This encounter with it found our planet Earth on the far side of the solar system's yearly orbit from where this object passed by the sun. In other words, we could have been real close to it, you follow me? But
yes.
We weren't. We were on the other side of the solar system, in the big ring. Remember we talked about the plane of the ecliptic, right? Remember, in the planetarium?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
All right, well, this time, Earth, if it's a chart, you're looking at the right chart, Earth was on the opposite side of where this object. We lucked out. It could have been a lot worse. Yeah, we've had some rough Earth things. We've had volcanoes and earthquakes and tsunamis. Yeah, it could have been a heck of a lot worse. See, everybody thinks, oh, how bad Katrina was. Yeah, it was terrible. It was terrible. But it could have been a lot worse.
Dr. Rand, we've got a listener who's been telling me, he's actually been a guest before too, who says that he's in contact with some sort of extraterrestrials, and that they claim that they're going to implode the moon in September of 2015. And I don't know. So he asked me earlier to ask you what you thought about that. So I'll throw it out there at you. I have my opinions, and I've given them a million times, so I won't even comment on it. But
I hate to disappoint, but I have not heard this until this very moment.
Okay. Well, fair
I mean,
enough.
first I heard about it. My first question would be, well, why would they want to do that? Why would they want to destroy the moon and how it affects us? Without that moon, our seasons aren't regulated properly, and our tidal system falls down, and a whole bunch of governors. See, that moon is our governor. You follow me?
Yeah.
Okay. Why would the ETs want to destroy that? That doesn't make sense to me. That's my immediate reaction to what I just heard. Okay?
Yeah. Have you ever heard of the Galactic Federation of Planets? Because that's what he claims are the ETs that he's in touch with, and I guess one's name is Joseph, and so on and so forth. And I'm not knocking the guy, although I am a little bit because I don't believe it either. But that's me. You know, and without solid evidence, there's not too much I will believe unless I see it with my own eyes.
If that date comes and goes, either his information was incorrect or the plan changed. Wasn't I nice about that?
You were very nice about that. Well done.
Okay. So I guess we'll just have to wait to see.
Yeah. So that's what I say.
Hopefully it doesn't happen.
Yeah, I hope not either. I just don't see. I asked him. I says, "But if the moon's gone, you know," and I brought up all the issues that you just brought up, and apparently the answer was that something else would be put in its place. So
right, and pictures and tons of stuff about this. All you have to do is go digging for it, and you'll find out stuff. You'll go, "Wow, I didn't know that." No, that can't be. Well, it is. All right. I found one other thing that I wanted to read to you. It's from page 2. This is going back to the text. Okay. This is this guy speaking. It's Bart Zabril, quoting, "My military sources inform me that it was sometime during President Eisenhower's second term, 57 to 60, that his leading scientists confirmed the existence of Planet X." Eisenhower? That far back? By using specialized equipment, which is still classified to this day. The Pioneer 10, launched in 72, and Voyagers 1 and 2, launched in 77, were unmanned space probes that were specifically designed to triangulate the precise location and trajectory of Planet X. In early press releases, NASA even mentioned this very purpose for its mission, although they later retracted the statement, of course, and such statements cannot be found today. The New York Times wrote a story about those very same spacecraft discovering Planet X in 81, yet there was no mention of it ever again. And in 1983, the Washington Post reported that Planet X was again discovered by a newly launched infrared satellite telescope, yet they too never mentioned it again. They can honestly say, "Oh, no, we told you about it. We told you about it. Don't refuse it." All right. Anybody have a question? Because I know this is a very difficult area. We got to be careful what we're doing here, I guess. Right, guys?
I don't have a question as much as I do really a comment, and that is that people have to be careful when they are researching things like this, because there's plenty of disinfo. When there is something to be hidden, believe me, they go at no cost is too much for them to do everything they can to keep it buried, and they do that by sicking trolls onto the forums and people who build websites and devote them to just individual people who are doing nothing but good. But you got to be careful. But Ira, do you have a question?
Well, just to reiterate that, they'll put 50 layers of BS on top of the actual hidden truth, and you'll still even have to dig into the hidden truth there after you get through the 50 layers of BS.
Yeah, like a Nugentella, like a guy like that who just sits there all day building websites about debunking the truth, and it's it's a shame because there's a world full of people like this who sell their souls, would sell their mothers just to get ahead, and it's too bad. That's why I've lived with leaky roofs and in cracked windows, and
then you don't have enough time in your day to rebuff or rebut every single one of the issues or the posts that he puts out. He'll put out 8 or 9 or 10 a day. Well, you haven't got time to put out 8 or 9 or 10 rebuttals to the things that he puts out.
Well, nor would I want to take the time to debunk it all or refute it all, because you know what? Anybody who believes that stuff has obviously not done the research, and they're not worth my time anyway. So
right. Well, one comment that I would toss into the actual conversation, getting away from the trolls, would be They're right now they're working on completing by the year 2023 the LSST, which is called the Large Synoptic Study Telescope down in Chile, and they're planning on using it to do a 10-year search for everything that is outside of what is considered the normal solar system, out into the Kuiper Belt and so forth. Well, number one, I will say that according to new information that they've put out, they do think that the solar system itself probably extends out about 2 light years away from the sun, and everything within that 2 light years would be the actual solar system, quote unquote. But the other thing I thought was interesting about the name of that telescope, not to get into the religious stuff because I'm not religious, but when people think of the word synoptic, of course that means like an aggregation of data, but also things like the synoptic gospels, which is Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Those are where the information that, for instance, Jesus spoke about with the tribulation that was coming up was in the synoptic gospels, and here they're putting together this synoptic telescope to look for objects out there in the solar system. Just kind of wanted to throw that out there and see what you thought about all of that.
It all fits, my dear friend. It all fits too neatly, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah,
it's little chunks of hidden info like that, the little breadcrumbs that they give out.
That's right.
If you only knew how brilliant this whole plan was, whoever concocted it. See, we still think there's this hidden conspiracy where there's this bunch of global brats and tyrants who run the planet, right? Raking it and controlling all of us and the money and everything, right? I mean, don't we all kind of think that there's the cabal of bad guys out there who are really the ones who are really causing all these problems, right?
As a standard, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I've often wondered if, in fact, there's 2 sides to this fight. I've always believed that there was an ET side who was also counteracting lots of weird stuff, fighting on our behalf. Of course, we never see it. Most of us aren't even aware that ETs exist, or they refuse to believe it anyway. So, we have to ask ourselves, where are we on the cosmic clock? Are we 30 seconds before the big guys start chiming? Or are we still 5 minutes away? See, cosmic time and Earth time, two different equations, you see?
Well, to toss into that, one of the things that people don't think about is when they think about the Illuminati or the New World Order or the Dark Masters and that sort of thing, is that they'll point to the pyramid symbolism on the dollar, for instance, and you got the all-seeing eye up above and so forth. Well, one thing that always comes to my mind with regards to that fits right into this is that a pyramid has multiple sides. Just because you're only seeing that one side of it doesn't mean that that's all that there is. They're only displaying their own side of it there. Okay, boy. If we start going on the slippery path of Illuminati and all secret societies, man, are we in for a big, we can get in a lot of trouble, guys.
Well, we don't have enough time.
I don't know if I'm up for that ruffle tuffle on that one.
We don't have time to get into that anyways. That's more than a half hour, that's for sure. But Dr. Rand, we do have about another, I'd say, 25 minutes to go with you, and so I want to give you the floor and make sure that you have time to get out whatever you would like. And Ira, I thank you for your call, and I'll be in touch with you after the show or tomorrow afternoon.
Sounds great. I'll be available whenever. Dr. Rand, thank you so much for being here. It's great being
Thanks for being a part of our group. I really enjoyed it. I look forward to meeting you sometime.
You bet. Me too. Thanks, guys.
All right. Have a good one, Ira.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. All right. So, Dr. Rand, the floor is yours. No more breaks. We're going to go right through here, and we've got, like I say, about another 25 minutes. And I do thank you. So, go right ahead.
Well, I'm going to jump to page 10. It's the second paragraph. Remember, I said I wanted to read some things. Wasn't going to read it word for word, but I came across this paragraph earlier today. Okay, I'm quoting from the same text I've been reading from. It refers to this topic called the Book of Revelation. Okay. Quoting, the confusion and diversity of opinions regarding the Book of Revelation may be similar to the dividing camps of science versus religion, with the true answer being found by incorporating bits of both. With Revelation, there appears to be 2 camps as well, literal versus symbolic. Some may argue all day long that the Book of Revelation is one or the other. What I propose is that it may be bits of both. God is such a poet, with depth of mind beyond human understanding, that it may mean one or two other things literally as well, all at the same time, all together. The book of Revelation may be symbolic, but it may also be literal, and it may have been fulfilled in the first century, and it may also be refulfilled in the last days, all in each and every paragraph. So I ask the question, has anyone ever considered this possibility? It's food for thought, isn't it, Michael?
It certainly is, and I agree with you there too. It's, there's good arguments on both sides, but when it comes down to it, it could be either or. Nobody can prove it 100% either way. So prepare, right?
Yeah. And then there's one more point that I'm drawing out from page 11. It's talking about astrophysicist James McCanney and how he really went all into trying to explain this, but he was shut down, as you probably know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm quoting from page 11, paragraph 2. Respected astrophysicist James McCanney just revealed that his senior military and professional astronomical contacts informed him that, quote, a mini solar system, Planet X with several moons and or comets and or asteroids orbiting it, is moving now toward our solar system. This horde of incoming comets and asteroids now threaten all life on Earth. You are on your own. Be prepared. End quote from him. Additionally, due to alleged government cutbacks, the National Space Fence radar system, which could be monitored independently by international astronomers, and it was the only protective warning system that was deliberately put in place to protect incoming comets and asteroids that threaten all life on Earth. Well, it was just permanently shut down. So I raise the question, guys. What don't they want the world to see? And when will we see it? So that's the last quote that I'm going to bring out from this report. But it's something that I'm going to send to you, and I'd like everyone to take a look at it. And there's interesting references all through it. So it's not just this guy's work of fiction. Okay?
Wonderful.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So listen, you've got to have some questions. Come on, blow me, try me.
Well, I guess my questions are a little off of the whole Planet X thing, but Ferguson,
Okay.
do you think that this is part of prophecy?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. We should have seen this coming.
Oh, I have seen it coming. The mainstream media plays race as a division, and people fall for it every single time, and that's all it'll take, let it keep spreading, and hey, martial law. But we have another call, Dr. Rand. We've got James, and James is in Massachusetts, I believe. Welcome aboard, James.
Yeah, how you doing, Michael?
Good. How are
How you
you?
doing? Fine. How you doing, Dr. Rand?
I'm doing fine, sir. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, I was in L.A. recently, a couple of years ago, and I went to the Griffith Observatory, and it showed that Pluto and Neptune changes. Pluto passes, is like the 8th planet, and then Neptune's the 9th. Is it possible that Planet X is doing that?
I don't know if I understand the dynamic of what you were explaining. In other words, I'm not familiar with it, so it's hard for me to make it.
At the Griffith Observatory, they have the solar system on the ground there, and it shows that Pluto crosses under Neptune. That their orbits actually flip at a spot there on it, and I didn't know that. And I was wondering if possibly Planet X is causing that perturbation of Pluto, causing it to be the 8th planet temporarily in orbit.
It's widely believed, sir, that this incoming body has been affecting all of the planets ever since about 1972, when they first discovered these protuberations were happening with the planets. So my answer to you is yes, I do believe that. Yes. Now, I can't tell you the exact mechanism to support that, but all the science is there. All you have to do is, have you ever done a thing like connect the dots? You ever play one of those games, you buy a puzzle?
Oh, yeah.
Well, this is what this mystery is like. It's like filling all the dots. But the dots, here's the thing, the dots keep changing on you.
Well, they're hid.
So that's why you need to be up on currently what is real and what is not real. Do you follow me?
Right. Right.
All right.
I
hope I answered your question.
Yeah, you did. I want to ask you one other thing. I don't think I asked you this before. You mentioned Voyager satellite. When they lost contact with it, supposedly it was taking pictures of Saturn. And Dr. Norman Berggren put out a book called Rainmakers of Saturn. Have you ever heard of that book?
Yes, I have. Mm-hmm.
What is your comment about that book and what?
I haven't read it. I know of it. I have not read it. But yes, I do. I am aware of it. And I think it broke ground that had never yet been approached.
Right. Well, supposedly there was like three huge spaceships, and one of the largest one supposedly had like 1,000-mile long machine or something, or whatever long, and was mining they thought it was mining the rings, but then they come up and they determined that it was actually making the rings of Saturn. And that's why we couldn't see the pictures, and they lost contact, because it was taking these dynamite pictures of these huge spacecrafts. Is what the Ringmakers is all about.
Yeah, this sounds extremely exciting. Can you imagine how advanced that technology must be to do the things you're saying?
Right, and that's why I mention that, because I've always felt that, why would they be doing that to the planet if they weren't, in fact, trying to make some kind of mechanism to try to push Planet X away or whatever. It's my feeling that whatever they're doing on Saturn has to do with Planet X.
Could be. Since I don't know, I can't comment, but let's put it this way. You never know about this subject that we're talking about. It has many, many levels and many, many different approaches. And I thank you for your call.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Rand. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
You're
James.
welcome, buddy. Have a great evening.
Yep.
All right. Great call. I think one of these nights you got to do a show where people call in and tell us whether they believe or do not believe in Planet X and why they do or why they don't. And
all right,
and that would be a fun night.
Go ahead, schedule it.
Yeah, we'll have to do that some night. I'll definitely see.
Sure.
But we need participation. We need people to call in.
Sure.
I think it'd make it fun, because who knows? Someone might call in with something we haven't seen yet.
Absolutely. I'm open to any ideas or sharing of information. That's how you learn about things, and that's how you proceed in the future.
I see. Well, let's ask this question then. Now, Dr. Rand, a couple shows ago when we talked, you had, at that point, you were thinking that Planet X may have been on its way back out. Do you still hold that position, or do you think? Oh,
yes.
Okay.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I still think we're going to get to see it pretty soon. But I think it's on its way out.
Well, that'd be interesting.
It's not done. See, everybody, a lot of the jumble of information out there is that, still coming in, it's going to come through. It's not going to come through the solar system. It's not going to touch any planet. I can tell you that they're real. I wish we could do a three-way conversation with my friend Sergio in California. I think I mentioned to you privately about our experience with the big triangular craft over his little two-story building.
Yeah, well, actually, we did a show on that one night.
Yeah. I still am remembering bits and pieces of what happened, even though it's years later. They do that for a reason, by the way. They don't want you to experience the whole thing right away over, because it could be traumatic. See, there are things that I probably saw on the ship. We were on board 11, 12 minutes, no more, according to my watch and his watch. It's interesting. My watch kept running, but his stopped. So I knew when the event began. For some reason, and I'm looking, and right now, here I am, as I'm talking to you, Michael, I'm holding the very watch I had on my arm that day in April of 2004. I had the same watch on my arm, and it's still running.
Well,
so I can tell you that the technology is real. They are real, and they're going to be a major factor. I can assure you of that.
I was going to say, even if you had some kind of, say, watch camera, because we know these technologies exist, even if you had that and you had actual footage, everybody would say it wasn't real.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. I'm the one that had the experience. They didn't.
That's right. I had my
Of
own
course,
experience.
I know why. But I'm just saying that's been my destiny. That's been my interest. That's been my gift. That's been my reward. And there will be more. That's why I can speak the way I do, because I do believe what I say, and I can pretty much back up everything that's happened to me.
Yeah.
But see, each of us has a role to play. Mine and yours are talking about these things. You know.
Yeah.
Some people call us rabble rousers. You know that.
Yeah, you know, and I tell the listeners the same thing. The experiences that I've had, they're my experiences. They're for me,
Yep.
and that they're for me to understand that there is reality to this UFO phenomena, this whatever, you know. And
Yep.
I'm not trying to convince them. I'm just telling you about it. If you want to listen, great. If you think I'm full of it, that's okay. No harm done. Right?
No, wish you were along for the experience, but sorry.
Yeah. It's you know, I never met no ETs, but I seen the craft and I seen it up close, and I'll tell you what, it's real.
This craft that we saw above the building, it was literally a scene out of Star Trek. We were up on the roof of the 3-story apartment in the Mid-Wilshire district of LA, and it's from the 3rd floor. It is the most spectacular view of downtown Los Angeles at night with all the skyscrapers. It is truly, truly beautiful, beautiful view. And we would go up there, and we would have a glass of wine after dinner, or sometimes we'd eat dinner up there. There was a little place to sit. Bring wine up there and some food, pasta, whatever. Well, this night was perfect. There was absolutely no stars in the sky. So the only light that was cast upon the dark sky was from downtown. So where we were at, the sky was totally dark. No light, except for the building. Well, remember how the warbirds used to just vibrate into view on Star Trek? Remember the warbirds?
Oh, yeah.
Cloak?
Yeah.
Remember that? Remember that?
I do.
Well, I'm telling you, I saw this huge, mega block ship in the form of a wedge. When I first consciously encountered it, it was coming toward me from the west, moving east into my view, and it just shimmered into focus, and then suddenly it was as clear as a bell. It was this huge, looked like dark black gray metal, 3-story spacecraft in the form of a wedge, like a W. It looked like a W.
Wow.
And it was no more than 1,000 feet overhead. No more. But it was so big, it seemed like it was so huge. It was like it was right there. The only way I can describe it to you.
That's exactly how I would describe it. I mean, not the W. Mine were more like it looked like 4 tubular crafts, but then as I think of it, just the 4 tubes were kind of lit up. They were orange, glowing orange, but you know, I'm thinking now it was probably one big mothership. But I mean, at first it looked like in military formation there were 4 tubular crafts.
Why again?
Exactly. Why do I deserve that? You know, so I'm glad it happened. Although it just raises more questions.
Have you found the answer yet?
No, I look within my heart for that kind of thing, and my heart tells me, my inner voice tells me that not from this world.
Okay.
But I couldn't prove that either way. I don't know, but I've never seen nothing like that in any of our airports.
Okay. All right. Well, I can also tell you that the experience I had at age 11 up in Canada on board one completely illuminated my consciousness to reality in a way which I would never have experienced under normal conditions.
I bet.
And mental telepathy, although I've let the technique slip, although I wrote the book on it. I still have a book I never published about telemetric communication. They call it telemetric. Telecommunication, metric, mental. whole science to them. Anyway, I learned how to do it. I can still do it for a little bit. Anyway, I suddenly realized that everything that I thought I knew about physical reality here was subject to an amendment. And that amendment comes in different colors, shapes, sizes, masses, and dimensional energies. Just a flower. It's extremely complicated, Michael. There's a whole mathematical progress that has to take place for that flower to exist. You see?
Mm-hmm. I see.
Anyway.
So,
I suppose that's going over the deep end. I didn't mean to do that tonight.
Oh no,
that's how complex. But that's how complex reality is. We have no idea how complex is our everyday reality compared to our struggles or our illnesses.
I think.
Let's put it this way, Michael. It's but by the grace of God that we're all not dead.
I guess I can't argue with that. There's some force, keeping us safe. I guess, well, some of us. But then, I think that when we leave this physical plane, I think we get a lot more answers. I know we're here to learn a lesson, and we're to take that knowledge with us, I guess, for our soul, for our consciousness. But at the same time, I think there's certainly more to know. For some reason, when we're in this physical plane, we're not allowed to know, what comes after. But yet we have lots of evidence and signs that something does come after. So it's such a mystery, and I wonder if this was knowledge we were supposed to have, and rotten people have kept it from us.
It's them again, right?
It's always them.
It's always them. Of course it's them. You got to blame somebody, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Somebody made this mess. But Dr. Rand, we're almost out of time. We got about 5 more minutes left, and anything that you want to get out there, please go ahead. You're always linked up on latenightinthe-midlands.com on our links page, because you're not only a guest, you're a friend.
I want to pay a thank you and a tribute to your audience, because I didn't realize how broad a network you have now. I thought it was just us in South Carolina.
No, oh no, we're worldwide. We're everyone can hear us if they want to.
Oh my God. I wonder if we've got anybody buzzing in their heads, or if they think we're totally nuts.
We get a little of both, I'm sure.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Well, at least I can be rational about my insanity,
Yeah, exactly. I always say it's the ones who they call crazy are the ones we want to listen to.
All right. Well, here's what I'd like to do. I'd like to thank everybody for listening, and if we've just piqued your curiosity at some of the strange stuff we're talking about. And by the way, if any of you would like a book, I have copies left that I would be very happy to sign an autograph. They're half price at $15.95, and I'll sign them to you. You can get them through Amazon.com or through Michael or myself. I'll even give you my phone number. How often do authors give out their phone numbers?
Hey, you're very daring.
All right, 901-336-9660.
Okay.
If you got that, you got it. Now, our country is in desperate need of healing. I'm not going to go in any particular direction other than we better get our heads out of our backsides, and we better get our attitudes together and get rid of our hate and our animosity, because if Mother Earth flexes her muscle when we come in for a series of bad global earthquakes, which is where I think this is going, we're going to need all the reserve and all the moxie and all the goodwill we can from each other to survive. I think that's my message tonight.
You may regurgitate.
You brought up Ferguson. We need to get that behind us, everybody. We need to take time to deal with reality, not emotions.
Very true.
That's all I'm saying. Let love prevail. Okay?
All right. All right. Well, Dr. Rand, thank you so much.
So, if that's the case, that was a seminal point in the history of our planet because it started to further define the breakup of continents. Okay, what does all this have to do? Well, as this huge piece of space debris is still careening inward toward speculations, but it does come back from the region of Orion and comes up and under the back side of the sun. That's why we really never get to see it back then. At least this time we didn't. We see it now, but with great difficulty and expensive photography.
Well, here's what. Let me tell you what a few people kind of argue about that with me, and they say that, well, when people tell you it's in the backside of the sun or behind the sun, it's told to me, well, we go around the sun. So at what point, at some point, we should be on the same side, and that's what I get told by some out there. What do you say to something like that?
Well, it's coming up. It's been coming up, and I believe now it's about ready to arc out again. And this arcing out will be on or about September 18th, 2016. On or about that date, give or take 24 hours. And that date could signal a major global earthquake.
Interesting.
And it'll be the same arrival and landing of a series of UFO ET cultures in Mexico City and or Veracruz or both. I'll go out on a limb on that one tonight. Yeah.
Okay.
But can't guarantee it'll happen, but this is the information that I've been working on and gathering, and I believe is the right conjuncture of dates. Okay. Now, hits the baby sun, knocks it into an 1,800-year-long journey from the region of our solar system back to the giant blue-black controller star, which then sucks it into its orbital influence and throws it back out, slings it out, just like Apollo 13. Remember when they got in trouble?
Yeah.
They had to go. They had to complete the mission to the moon to get slung out back toward the Earth again because they didn't have enough fuel. So, cast out, and the big blue-black sun sends it flying back toward our solar system. There goes my throat. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to hold everybody in suspense as I drink a little water here.
Well, that's quite all right. Believe me, I know how it is.
I probably drink half a gallon a day from assorted containers.
That's good.
All right. So, we believe that this semi-important yet interdimensionally very important fact that this object, we believe, does have a supernatural significance to it, and thus plays into religion and the Bible and everything. It seems to be about every 3,600 years or so. You'll have to excuse me. I'm having such a bad time with my throat tonight.
Well,
I'm fighting off a cold.
That's quite all right. I'll give you a chance. Go ahead and have some water because I want to address something. I've got every now and then there's somebody who's listening who may have a problem hearing things, and I'm just letting everybody know that it's coming in great on my end. All my meters and dummy needles here are telling me everything's fine, and nobody else has complained. So, folks, remember, if you're listening by Wi-Fi or something like that, wireless connections, it could very well be on your end, but I assure you the broadcast is coming off just wonderful off our end. Matter of fact, I'm very happy with it because I wasn't sure how it was going to go tonight because I had to throw things together over the weekend here. So, but came out good. And we do have a caller, too. But go ahead, Dr. Rand, and finish your...
Yeah, let me finish the dissertation on the baby son, Wormwood.
Okay.
So, this object is cast back toward the Earth about every 3,600 years. Really interesting events happen on the planet, and that we believe that the last time that this event happened, going back approximately 3,600, actually it's 3,543 years or so from this date, it's the year 1447 BCE, before Christ's time, or before the Christian era, BCE. Moses was leading the Israelites out of Egypt after 400 years of bondage. In fact, that movie's coming out, by the way, and it looks like it's going to be pretty good. It's in 3D.
Okay.
Okay? That would account for most or all of the phenomenon that occurred when Moses used his rod. And this is all talked about in the book of Revelation. Isn't that interesting? Like corroboration. Follow me?
Mm-hmm.
I found that this is happening more and more when I research these stories.
But now
Okay.
there's, just so for the record, now there's actual scripture or text or however you want to, whatever you want to call it, that goes back even further than that talks about this event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, where does this leave us at this point? Well, we happen to be living in a very, very interesting time period. We may be actually living in what could be considered the end time. You know, give or take 50 years, or maybe not. I look at things a little more sober these days. Things are a lot worse than they appear to be. The terrorist thing is getting a little scary, okay? You have to be careful what you say and who you say it to. We may be witnessing this planet going through even more trials and tribulations than it already is. Which brings me back to my opening statement, and then I'm going to plunge into reading this text. Okay. We talked about tonight was November 2nd.
December.
And we talked about overpopulation and global warming. Then let's talk about, now all of these things are all happening simultaneously, right now, somewhere on this planet. We still have a badly depleted ozone layer. We have vast rainforest devastation with uncontrollable